Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapatam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadanti Swamparantikam. Here comes all of them, His Holiness Puri Maharaj. His Holiness Puri Maharaj ki jai.
No, I'm excited. Just to see you.
So, let me introduce you.
Come on, you speak. Come on.
Hare Krishna. So I'm as surprised as you are. We're all surprised. We were hoping Maharaj would come for the Rath Yatra, but it seems Lord Jagannath had another plan. So he came yesterday, apparently, I think. Omagena tamurandasya gananjana salakaya chakshmatamina tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Snapatamena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadanti Swamparantikam. Bandeham Shri Guru Shri Yatapara Kamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavam Cha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Ragnatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Sadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishavitam Vicham. He Krishna Karana Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopikanta Radha Kanta Namaste Tapta Kancha Gaurange Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sudhadevi Pranamani Haripriye Vanchakalpa Trubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Patitanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Namastraistamanamapi sachi puchamacha surupam Rupam dasagrajam Uparamatoram gostavatam Radha kundam girivaramo radhakamadavayasam Prapto yasha pratita kripaya Shri Guru Tanatosmi Gurave Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadaya Krishna Krishna Bhaktaya Tad Bhaktaya Namo Namaha Bande Guru Misha Bhakta Misha Vatarakam Tad Prakasham Tat Shakti Krishna Chaitanya Samgyakam Bande Shri Krishna Chaitanya Nityananda Sodatu Godavada Puspavantu Chitru Sandatamonadu Anapitam Charam Charat Karunyavatana Kalo Samapaitam Natam Dolam Rasam Shri Bhakti Shriyam Hari Parata Sundara Dutika Namba Sandipita Sadaratikada Sparatu Vasachinandana Radha Krishna Pranaya Vikriti Ladini Shakti Asmit Ekatmana Vapi Bhuvi Pura Deha Vedam tu Chaitanyakyam Prakitam Adunana Chakyakyam Radha Bhavduti Savolitam Nami Krishna Sarupam Bhangam Lagayate Senam Mukhamavata Akshritam Takripatam Aham Vande Krishna Chaitanya Ishwaram Durgami Patime Andasha Skala Padagatyama Swakviyasti Danena Shanti Shantavalambanam Shri Rup, Shri Sanatana, Bhata Raghunath, Shri Jiva Gopala Bhata Dasa Raghunath, Echai Guru Karan Charanavandana, Yahwete Vignana Savisa Param. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So I'll speak for a few minutes, and then we'll ask His Holiness Puri Maharaj to also speak. How many of you saw that play, Karna and Kunti, of the Rath Yatra? And the others didn't? Prema Manjari didn't? Oh. Anyhow, the play was very wonderful, very nicely done, Karna and Kunti. So I wanted to speak a verse from chapter 8, Prayers of Queen Kunti. Queen Kunti is a great devotee of Krishna. Generally, it's men that figure in the Srimad Bhagavatam and generally the Vedic scriptures. And women don't sort of have much of a place. Of course, the most exalted devotees are the gopis. So in that sense, they have a very significant place in Krishna's pastimes. But Queen Kunti is a wonderful example of a lady who was a highly advanced devotee, a Mahabhagavat. So this verse is particularly nice. So please repeat. Atha Visvesa Visvatman Visva Murte Swakeshu Me Sneha Pasam Imam Chandi Dritham Pandusu Vrishni. Translation. So Queen Kunti is praying to Krishna. Queen Kunti is the mother of the 5 Pandavas. Who are the 5 Pandavas? Yudhishthira, Bhima, Arjuna, Nakula, Sahadev. She prays, O Lord of the universe, soul of the universe, O personality of the form of the universe, please, therefore, sever my tie of affection for my kinsmen, the Pandavas and the Vrishnis. Please repeat. O Lord of the universe, soul of the universe, O personality of the form of the universe, please, therefore, sever my tie of affection for my kinsmen, the Pandavas and the Vrishnis. So, one may ask the question, everyone should be thinking now. Sever my tie of affection, sneha pasam imam chindi. Chindi means cut. Sneha means affection. Prem, sneha, pranaya, man pranaya rag. Sneha means deep affection. Sneha pasam imam chindi. Cut my tie of affection. Who is Queen Kunti attached to? The 5 Pandavas. Of course, she was attached to others also. She was attached to the Vrishnis. She was related to the Kurus. But especially she was attached to the 5 Pandavas. Now you may ask, the 5 Pandavas were pure devotees. Am I correct? Arjuna is the great friend of Krishna, Yudhishthira, Bhima. So what's wrong with being attached to the pure devotee? we hear that becoming attached to the pure devotee opens the doors of liberation, moksha dharma parvati. Every sane man knows, Lord Kapila Dev says, that attachment to the material is the greatest entanglement for the spirit soul. But that same attachment transferred to the liberated souls opens the doors of liberation. So if you're attached to a pure devotee, then that opens the doors of liberation. So why was Queen Kunti praying, sever my tie of affection for the Pandavas? And the Pandavas meant her 5 sons. Why? This is a good question, isn't it? Because she prays like that, Sneha Pasam Imam Chindi. So Prabhupada explains that Queen Kunti, she was related to the Pandavas because she was the mother, and she was also related to the Kurus, Duryodhana and Dhritarashtra. She was related to both. But in her mind, she wanted Krishna to favor the Pandavas. So this created a dilemma in her mind. She was thinking, why am I favoring my sons, the Pandavas, over the Kurus? And so her mind became a little disturbed because a devotee likes to be equiposed, isn't it? The advanced devotee is equiposed amongst friends and enemies. So Queen Kunti became a little bit disturbed, thinking, why is it that I want Krishna to bless more the 5 Pandavas, my children, than my cousins? Because Duryodhana was her cousin. So this is one reason why she was praying to sever the tie of affection. But there's another reason, and Prabhupada explains that Queen Kunti did not want, she's praying, sever the tie of affection that I have due to me being the mother. Due to me being the mother and these boys being my son, that type of affection which is due to the material energy, you sever that. And Prabhupada describes that as skin disease. But the affection I have for my 5 sons, which is based on understanding they're the soul, that I don't mind. Can you understand the difference? Prabhupada writes, let me read it. Her affection, Queen Kunti, for the Pandavas and the Vrishnis is not out of the range of devotional service, because the service of the Lord and the service of the devotees are identical. So in other words, to serve the devotee and to serve the Lord, it's identical. Sometimes service to the devotee is more valuable than service to the Lord. Now we know that. Service to the Guru, service to Srila Prabhupada. One cannot approach Krishna directly, but one approaches his devotees. So sometimes, Prabhupada writes, service to the devotee is more valuable than service to the Lord. But here, the affection of Queen Kunti for the Pandavas and the Vrishnis was due to family relationship. It was due to the fact that I am the mother and these are my sons. Now that is due to the material energy. Is it not? That's due to Maya. The tie of affection in terms of material relation is a relation of Maya, because the relations of the body or the mind are due to the influence of the external energy. Now Prabhupada talks about the other type of relationship. Relations of the soul established in relation with the Supreme Soul are factual relations. So you have body relationships due to the body and relationships due to the soul. So Queen Kunti was praying, sever my tie of affection for bodily relationships. But not relationships based on the understanding that you are the soul. That's all right. When Kunti Devi wanted to cut off the family relations, she meant to cut off the relation of the skin. The skin relation is the cause of material bondage, but the relation of the soul is the cause of freedom. So you understand this point? It's quite subtle. So Queen Kunti is showing by example that we should not be unnecessarily attached to our family members. One may be the father, one may be the mother, one may be the parents, the husband or the wife. But it's a waste of material energy. It's a waste of human energy to become too much attached, overly attached. The word is pramata. From the word pramata comes mad. To become overly attached to our family members. So this was very practical because all of you are very attached to your children. You're all very attached to your brothers and sisters, and you're attached to your parents. Mostly I think it's the children you're attached to. So we have to learn from Queen Kunti. She's praying to Krishna, my dear Lord, sever the tie of affection that I have for my own sons, that's based on the idea that I'm the mother and they're my sons. Kill that. Chindi, cut it. Sunya, make it 0. Rather, let my affection flow towards you. What does she pray? The next verse. Twai me ananya vishaya matia madhupate sakrit. Let my affection flow to you, O Lord of Madhu, like the Ganges flows towards the sea. This is a famous prayer. Madhupate means Lord of Madhu. So as the Ganges flows towards the sea, let my affection flow towards you, not towards my children, towards my wife, towards my husband, towards my parents. This is how she prays. So we can learn from this. It's very wonderful. O Lord of Madhu, as the Ganges forever flows to the sea without hindrance, let my attraction be constantly drawn unto you without being diverted to anyone else. So, this is not so easy to do, but if you chant Krishna's name and you start practicing devotional service, automatically you become detached from your family situation. So I'm not advocating, I'm not saying that you should give up your children, give up your husbands and wives. But we should learn to become a bit more detached. Like a lotus is floating in the water. But it's on the water, but it's not in the water. So you should be in the material world, but not influenced by the material world. Prabhupada also performed his duty as a father and protected his wife. On one tape, it was very interesting. On one tape, Prabhupada said, my wife, she was very faithful, but I just didn't like her. She was very nice, she was very faithful, but I just didn't like her. Prabhupada said that. He was very honest. So, but he protected her until a certain age. Actually, he was 1954, so he was 58 years, and then he took Vanaprastha. And his children, he brought them up, he did his duty. So we should do our duty, but really we should try to become attached to Krishna. Madhupate, the Lord of Madhu, Jagannath, Subhadra, Balaram, Gauranga, Nitai. We should try to be attached to Radha and Krishna, Vrindavan, Mayapur, Jagannath Puri. Not Phoenix. Not the North Coast. Not so much our wife, not so much the children. But if you engage in devotional service, automatically you become detached. Automatically. Vasudeva Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojiti Janayati Asuya Vairagyam. Asu. Very soon, Vairagya, you become detached if you engage in devotional service. Very soon. So, Prabhupada also writes, of course, now I am speaking on the other side, that family members are natural objects of affection. But that's if our family members become devotees. We want our family members to become devotees. And then they're natural objects of affection. If they don't become devotees, then there's not so much attachment there. Really, we want to become attached to Krishna. Because ultimately our children will leave us, or we will leave them. We will die. Am I correct? Yes, we will die. We will leave them, or our children will die and they will leave us. So rather we try to have this affection, secret attention, matiya, towards Madhupate, the Lord of Madhu, the Supreme Lord. So Queen Kunti is praying, my dear Lord, let me always meditate on you. Let my mind be drawn towards you, like the Ganges flows towards the sea. The Ganges flows. It really flows. It's not like the river Amlazi or the river Tegela. That's like a little stream. The Ganges, sometimes there's waves. There's big dolphins. Sometimes you can't see the other side of the bank of the Ganges. It's 1 kilometer, 2 kilometers, 3 kilometers. It's 100 meters deep. And it flows like a running horse. You can't run the speed that the Ganges flows. So Queen Kunti is saying, like the Ganges flows towards the sea, then let my mind flow or be attracted towards you, your lotus feet, without being diverted to anything else. This is pure devotional service, and Yabila Sita Sanya. This is pure devotional service. So that play was very wonderful, Karna and Kunti. Very wonderful. The Mahabharata and the Bhagavatam, the Bhagavad Gita are full of wonderful pastimes where highly philosophical points are presented, but in the form of previous histories. So drama is a very wonderful way of putting over Krishna consciousness. It's a very wonderful way. Prabhupada described Krishna consciousness as a cultural revolution. Cultural revolution. We're starting a revolution, but it's cultural. So plays, dramas, these are parts of it. So I'll just read the verse again. O Lord of the universe, O soul of the universe, O personality of the form of the universe, please, therefore, sever my tie of affection for my kinsmen, the Pandavas and the Vrishnis. And the next verse, O Lord of Madhu, as the Ganges forever flows to the sea without hindrance, let my attraction be constantly drawn unto you without being diverted to anyone else. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Gaur Premanandi. So we'll ask Maharaj to speak.
Gauranga. Gauranga.
Gauranga.
Gauranga.
Gauranga.
Nama Pankajanabhaya, Nama Pankajamalini, Nama Pankajanetraya, Namaste Pankajangraye. This is Bhakti Prabhu was talking about Queen Kunti and her attachment. She wanted her attachment to flow to Krishna, just like the rushing Ganges to the sea. So this is the nature of the great souls. You think of the Ganges, just like Bhakti Prabhu was saying, how it flows so strongly. And it takes everything with it. If you go to Mayapur, if you're in Mayapur, maybe back in the 70s, the Ganges was like about 2 kilometers away from the temple, or the Bhakti Siddhanta Road. It was like 2 kilometers away. You had a good walk out. But now, it's right at the roadside. So when the Ganga comes flowing in, and it takes everything with it. This is mercy. So the great devotees, they're also like Kunti, like Srila Prabhupada. They're like the Ganga. And another way that they're like the Ganga is that the Ganga flows from the lotus feet of the Lord. Liquid nectar coming from the lotus feet of the Lord down through the material universe to deliver everyone So these great souls, they come from the lotus feet of the Lord also. Like Kunti. She wants to go back to where she's come from. So in her mind also, the Ganga is coming from the lotus feet of the Lord, so let's go back there. It comes from the Lord and it flows to the Lord. There's no separation. So just like Kunti, she's using this example because in her heart there is no separation. So just like the devotees, they come from the Lord, there is no separation between them and the Lord. But they're here just like the Ganga to purify everywhere they go. Just like the Ganga, wherever it goes, it purifies. But there's one slight difference between the Ganga and the sadhu. Apart from the fact that the sadhu can swim in the Ganga. There's one thing that the Bhagavatam says, that a container in which alcohol has been in, even if you pass the Ganga through there many times, it cannot be purified. But even if one has been an alcoholic for many lifetimes, the sadhu can purify that person by that association. Because there's so many people we see who took alcohol and so many other things, and by the association of Srila Prabhupada and his mission, they now are sadhus. So this is great mercy. So we're all getting that mercy. We've all got it. Otherwise we would not be sitting here. So many devotees, they come and they're asking, "Oh Maharaj, give me your mercy, give me your mercy." And very often I think, well, what do they mean? What do they mean, give me your mercy? You know, sweet ball, yeah, garland, you know, few rand, and someone else gave me, you know. What do they mean by mercy? Are they looking for an easy way out? I'm suffering, you know. Become just like, you know, what would you call it? A big aspirin or something, right? Become a spiritual aspirin, you know, and relieve me from my suffering condition. Well, the guru is not, or the sadhu is not a spiritual aspirin. Unless you're aspiring to follow him properly. The mercy is there. There's one little situation with Prabhupada. It's small because it only lasts a few minutes, but it's very, very powerful, very positive. Makes things very clear. A few apparent devotees went to Srila Prabhupada and they asked Srila Prabhupada some question, philosophical, and it had a little trick to it because of their attachment, just the way they presented it. So Srila Prabhupada said, well, you just chant Hare Krishna and everything will be alright. And then they said, but Srila Prabhupada, there's difficulty, you know, in accepting what other people say because they have their motivations. Prabhupada says, don't worry about that, you just chant. You just chant Hare Krishna and everything will be alright. So but Prabhupada, we're chanting, but this person and this person, they make life difficult. And he said, but please, you just chant. He said, but Prabhupada, can't we do something about it? There must be an answer to all the problems of life. You know, there's these difficulty, that difficulty. And Prabhupada said, you just chant Hare Krishna. And eventually he said, Prabhupada, can there not be some other answer also? And Prabhupada said, I'm sorry, that is all I have. You please take. I cannot give you any more than I have been given. We look for more. And what is the more we're looking for? Something material. Everything is there within the name. The name and Krishna are one and the same, so how can there be anything less? How can there be anything at all missing? The relationship that you want, father, son, mother, daughter, all these other things. We've had millions of them. How many sons or daughters or wives or grannies or granddads have we had? Countless millions. But we've got real ones. Nitya Granny, she's up there in the spiritual world. Nitya Granny is there, that eternal grandmother that you're looking for. The one that knows just what to say in every circumstance. Why? Because she knows Krishna.
Do we have a Nitya mother-in-law?
You don't, Prabhu, don't worry about it. It's actually me, so be careful, don't say anything. You imagine a mother-in-law like me, right? They make suicide legal, right? Yes. Radharani's got a mother-in-law, doesn't she? Jatina. All relationships are there, but they enhance continually and unlimitedly, enhance, broaden, deepen the relationship that we have with Krishna's devotees and Krishna. The relationship goes through Krishna's devotees. That's why we have to get the name from a devotee. Because we have to learn to serve the devotee. We receive the mercy from the devotee. Because we have always got to consider that someone knows more than we do. Even Radharani, who can please Krishna so much, Krishna's internal potency, she's asking Lalita, Vishaka, what should we do now? She's asking Purnamasi, what arrangements can be made now? She knows, but she fully accepts that situation of other devotees having so many wonderful, beautiful ideas. It's so deep. The interaction is so deep. It goes right deep to the very fundamental basis of our entire existence. It's so deep that we do not exist without it. We cannot exist without it, and never shall, never did, and never will. It's just in this material world, we have the tendency to want to make our own relationships based on the fact that everyone should have a deep, unending relationship with us. And we want to create dependent sons, dependent daughters, dependent husbands, wives, so many things. Hello, is that Krishna? Oh yeah, I'm at the Phoenix temple. Prasadam will be quite soon, but if the big guy starts talking, don't worry about it. Ding. Krishna's on Vaikuntha, right? You get SMSs from Krishna, right? SMS, spiritual message service, right? Through the devotees. So, through devotional service, under the direction of the Vaishnava Sadhu, that It's how we re-establish this relationship. And it's so deep. We're actually so shallow and so superficial in this world. So shallow and so superficial, right? That we worry about every little blemish on the body, right? We get a spot on the body and they do what? I don't know if the Indians do it so much because it's a little difficult to see the brown skin, you know. You see the Westerners, they get the acne, you know. Squeezing spots in the mirror, you know. Oh. Always putting on makeup and eyeliner and kajal and... Yeah. Everything's so superficial, you know. Have to smell good, have to look good, you know. It's like women trying to attract men, men trying to attract women, you know. Women always trying to get this, you know, the jet, the pull over to look good, you know. I seen one time, there's a little caption in I don't read magazines, I just look at the pictures. I can't read. It was about a lady going into the dress shop, you know, the clothes shop, and she was trying on some pullovers, and the shop assistant said to her, "Is that too tight enough for you, madam?" Everybody's trying to attract in some way or another, I am this body. And look at the trouble it's causing everywhere you go, huh? We want immediate results. Give me mercy, I want to be free from my suffering now, immediately, if not sooner. No? But why are we suffering? Because of what we've done. Yesterday's smiles are today's cries, or today's smiles are tomorrow's cries. We want relief. And so many people think they come to Krishna consciousness, right? We just add, it's instant relief. Add mantra, stir, and everything goes away, yeah? And I feel really good. No. Krishna says we must learn to tolerate without being disturbed. So if we're still disturbed, it means our consciousness isn't transcendental as yet. Mercy has been given. You have the name. You've got all Prabhupada's books. You've got devotional service. You've got the Association of Devotees. There's more devotional service than you can ever perform. Prabhupada said, what? There is no unemployment in Krishna consciousness. We just find there's a bit of laziness. It's like every temple has a notice board, right? But you know the best notice to put there? You put a notice above it. If you've got nothing to do, please do not do it here. Because everybody, you go to the manor, you see it all there. Everybody's around the notice board. They know everything that's on it, you know. But we're always looking for something not to do. The nature of the mind. Nothing to do and all day to do it, and we're going back to Godhead for doing it. So we can do service, but what is the mood and the mentality of the service? Is it really loving service that I'm really wanting to do this to please Guru, the sadhus, and Krishna? Is it with devotion? Or is it just, well, this is my service, Puri, you know, I'm doing my service, you know. Casual, like, you know, it's my service, you know. Yeah, you know. I sweep the temple. I wash the temple. It's great. I wish I was doing something else. The nature of the mind. So we have to arrest the mind, bring it under control, and start thinking, what is my purpose behind every little bit of service that I've been given? How am I performing it? What is the quality of my consciousness and my performance? In other words, let's put devotion back into devotional service and stop leaving it as just service. There's a bus service, but there's nothing devotional about it. Right? So many other services, you get water, that's service, you get electricity, that's service. But devotional service means we don't want anything in return, and we want to do it for the pleasure of the person we're offering the service to. Their pleasure. When will aspiring devotees give up telling the spiritual master what they want to do? Happens. Oh, Guru Maharaj, what do you think of this? I'd like to do this, I'd like to do that. Oh, you'd like to do it? Okay. You'd really like to do it? That's good. I'm pleased you'd like to do it, so do that. But I'd like to do that. Yeah, I know you'd like to do that. That's very nice. But do that. But Guru Maharaj, I'd really like to do that for you back now. I'd really like to do it. That's good. I'm pleased that you like to do that. Now do that. Because in actuality, it's not what you want that pleases Krishna, it's what Guru wants. It's not our ideas which please Krishna. He's already self-satisfied, so he doesn't need somebody from the material world to come along with their really bright, stupid ideas, and add them to the process of devotional service, does he? He already knows what is devotional service, because he's the little blue guy that was supposed to be offered to, isn't he? So, we have to do what he wants. Sometimes the spiritual master may ask us to do something which we think, well, wait a second, why is he asking me to do that? I'm better at this. This devotee is doing that, but I'm better at that than he is. I can do it much better than him and get a much better result. Much better result. So, why am I being made to do this? It's another thing that I'm not so good at. Guru really wants to see, are you going to surrender? It's not whether you're good at something or whether you're bad at something. He wants to know, are you prepared to do it? Because good or bad at something, because it gets a result, can have a complete material consciousness to it. Just like here, do we have to wait till the temple's finished before we start worshipping Krishna? No. Before we start chanting the holy name? No. We're doing it here right now. Does it mean the place is imperfect at the present moment? No, the devotional service that's already been put into it, Krishna's pleased with. Naturally, we want to offer everything to Krishna in as full of form as possible, in his best way we can. So Prabhupada said that in the material world, one is building a house. The house has to be finished, otherwise it's useless. But in Krishna consciousness, if we're building a house for Krishna and we don't manage to finish it, still the work that's done for Krishna bears complete and full fruits of devotional service. It's complete because it's done for Krishna. But that doesn't mean to say if you're cooking an offering for the deities, you can walk out in the middle of it, and say to Krishna, the dal's maybe a bit hard to do, Thakurji, dal's a bit hard, but don't worry, the indigestion tablets are coming afterwards. You're going to end up with indigestion, spiritual indigestion, and not want to perform any more service, pretty soon. So it's the degree of devotion. Guru's looking for the degree of devotion. Not if someone's materially perfect. So many people are materially perfect, but spiritually they're number one idiots. dingoes, right? Answer, it might be Krishna. Not much chance of that, Fred. He's looking for the surrender of the soul. Can somebody switch it off or jump on it or something? And if they're not going to switch it off, jump on it, but make sure their hands hold on to it. So they learn a lesson, you know. So, let's start really thinking about devotional service, not just service. It's a modern technological age, unless Krishna says it through the Vodacom, right? Nobody follows it. Okay, everybody get your phones out. I'll give you a few instructions, right? You ever found that? If Guru says it, they think about it. If the TV says it, they do it. You know, the one-eyed Guru of the West, huh? Maya's big eye. So, everything has been given. You take. And see, Arthur Prabhu was saying that be careful really of the subtleties. Maya is very, very subtle. This verse was good because why? Adore Queen Kunti, Nityasiddha, eternally liberated soul. She is talking for our benefit. That don't let me become attached to this position of looking upon these devotees of yours as my children. Because then what? I will think that I have overlordship in some way or another over them. What's Bhakti Thakur say? I have this wife, this woman, these children, this house. But Lord, I only look after them because they are yours. And only because they are yours. Otherwise, I have nothing to do with them. Everything belongs to Krishna. Everyone belongs to Krishna. And we should adopt that consciousness. Otherwise, if we do not, then many unhappy returns to this material world. The phoenix may not rise, but you will rise again within it. From someone else's womb, right? So be careful. Please put the devotion into devotional service, in the name, in the heart. Follow the words of Guru, and then devotion will start. Go on. So Prabhupada ki Sharanam. That's a technical one, it's for you, Uncle. Speaking of some foreign language, I'm Scottish. Just chant Hare Krishna, don't worry about it.
The suffix in Anyabilasita is analyzed by Srila Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur. Can you please explain the difference between Anyabilas, Anyabilasita? Thank you.
No, any other way.
I heard the difference. I read about it some years ago. But really you need to be like a Sanskrit scholar to sort of know the technical terms. And Yabilasita means without desirelessness. We have no material desires. But that doesn't mean we don't have desires. We still have desires. But we desire to serve Krishna. The desiring to serve Guru or Gauranga or Krishna is not considered to be full of desires. It's considered to be desireless. Do you understand this? Desire means material desires. But you cannot negate desire. It's a characteristic of the soul to desire. So we simply change our desire to serving Guru and Gauranga. So desirelessness means simply to serve, having no material desires. But then an example is given, and this example is given by Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur, that if you're a pure devotee and you fall in the river and you start to drown, you'll try to save yourself. So is that a material desire? You're trying to save yourself. No, that's not really considered to be a material desire. That's sort of like a natural function, and you may try to stay afloat and you may not try to drown. So that's not really considered to be like a material desire. The fact that you may be an advanced devotee, if you try to save yourself when you are drowning. It's sort of like natural. So you can read, those who really want to understand. Dhanadhar Maharaj has given a commentary on waves of nectar devotion called Waves of Devotion, which is very nice, and which explains this point a little in more detail. I'll ask Maharaj to answer this question. Today is Ekadashi. What should we avoid? Cell phones.
Maya, any other question? What should you avoid? How deep do you want me to go? Prabhupada said, right? No grains, no pulses, no beans like that, no shaving, especially the women. No cutting of nails. And we should avoid nonsense talk. This is the day for talking about Govinda. This is one of the mothers of devotion. As Bhakti Thakur said, days like Janmashtami and Ekadashi are considered like the mothers of devotion. If we can fast on Ekadashi, that's good. We fast completely. And we chant as much as possible. Like, Partha Prabhu asked his devotees to chant 25 rounds in the Ekadashi. So that's also good. And we always used to be told as young devotees that they always read Krishna book in Ekadashi. But this is a day for developing devotion. There's many other things you can avoid. There's a lot of householders here. One, if one ever has sex in Ekadashi, it should never happen. That's considered breaking Ekadashi. one should never try for children on Ekadashi. Never. It's considered breaking Ekadashi. One should try to do things, all devotional, and we'll put most of the bodily things aside, unless they're absolutely necessary. Prabhupada said about Ekadashi, very simple, nothing in and nothing out. Try it if you like. And we used to consider that actually, unless it was absolutely necessary, sleeping during Ekadashi, you shouldn't do. So in other words, go to bed early the night before and rise early. And if you can stay up through the night, Ekadashi, straight through to sunrise the next morning, we're fortunate in this country, sunrise is quite early. Where I come from, sometimes in the winter time it doesn't rise till about 8:30, 9 o'clock in the morning, and you can just chant, and that is also very good. It's a day for just developing our devotion by chanting and hearing. Okay.
Please explain why in Bhagavad Gita it is explained that there is Purna Janma. Purna Janma means birth. If a devotee achieves perfection. Full stop. Since there is no birth after reaching Krishna Loka, for as explained in Bhagavad Gita, how is it explained that we fall down from Krishna Loka into this material world? Seems like there's two questions. So the first one, since there is no birth, why in Bhagavad Gita is explained that there is Purna Janma, birth, even if a devotee achieves perfection? Well, there's different levels of perfection. In that verse, chapter 7, text 3, Manusyanam sahasrasu kastyadhyata visiddhanam. Out of many thousands, one may achieve perfection. Prabhupada describes in the purport, what is that perfection? Not Krishna praying. That perfection is understanding you're not this body, you are the soul. Now you can go higher than that. So there's many degrees, there's many levels of perfection. So generally, when one attains the supreme perfection, one comes to the stage of Vallabh, Sudasakya descends. And then you take birth in the material world within Krishna's pastimes, somewhere. Somewhere right now Krishna's pastimes are going on. So you take birth in his pastimes, somewhere in some universe right now. And that is called Vasudhasena. You have a spiritual body because you're joining in Krishna's pastimes. And then you associate with the Nityasiddha devotees of the Lord. And then when Krishna winds up his pastimes in that particular universe, you go with him back to the spiritual world. And there again you take birth, even in the spiritual world. But it's spiritual birth. And you take birth either as a cowhead boy or as a young gopi. And you grow, but you have a spiritual body. And at a certain point you stop growing. And you never grow any older. If you're a cowherd boy, you never grow beyond the age of 6 or 7. So the other part of the question, I'll ask Maharaj, how is it explained that we fall down from Krishna Loka into this material world?
You want a very simple answer? Due to your envy of Krishna, isn't it? But we find in Bhagavatam, this is just a little thought that I keep having, that Krishna is very detached, If someone wants to be a little like him, he doesn't mind that. like you've got Stoka Krishna, the cowherd boy. He's little Krishna. He's practically the exact same as Krishna, but only smaller. But he's got a little tough guy nature also. So there's a little difference there. And he's like Krishna. And as we see in Vaikuntha, they have the same forms, the same opulence as the Lord. So devotees get these types of liberation, Swarupavati and such like that. So Krishna's not really worried about that. But if we remember when the 4 Kumaras went to the gates of Vaikuntha, and they asked if they could see Narayan, and Jai and Vijay laughed at them. You're just children. Come back later when you've grown up a little bit. Come back when you're big sadhus, not little ones. And he explained how the 4 Kumaras, they didn't like that. So they gave them the opportunity, right? Because they never allowed them to see the Lord. You take birth 3 times as demons or 7 times as devotees. So very often when I think about that, I think that our reason for being here in this world is due to what? Sadhu Ninda. We committed offences against the devotees. And Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur also said, there is one offence which can cause you to fall down from the level of prema, and that is Sadhu Ninda. Offences against Krishna's devotees. So he says that offence can cause you to fall down from that level of pure love of Krishna. So then, that is an indication as to how we got here. We got here by our offences to Krishna's devotees. It's the most dangerous offence there is. It's the one that's put there specially for devotees. Because we are in knowledge of what a devotee is. Because we also want to be that. But due to our lust and desire, we want to be that more than someone else. So rather than serve that someone else, we become envious, so we put that person down. We talk badly of them. The nature in the material world. We want to be seen to be something. So we have to be very careful of that. Happens in the material world. So much in the material world is based on that envy, that one-upmanship. Put someone else down to make me look good. So that's what I've always felt, that's the cause of our fall. Wanting to negate or minimize the service of others. You cannot do that in the spiritual world, because everyone is so special to Krishna. They are his heart, and he is theirs. Inseparable. And as soon as, because there is that independence in the spiritual world completely, that independence, in this material world we have independence. It is complete, but it's a covered completeness. When we choose, then Maya covers us. Then the only independence we have when we're in Maya is it's just like a big menu. When you go to the restaurant, right? You've got your choice of which one. Which do you want just now? But you're going to get them all anyway. Which suffering do you want now? Which nonsense do you want to perform? But you're going to get them all. Don't worry about it. You're going to get creamed. Your only choice is which kind of suffering when you choose Maya. It's only when sadhu comes along, Vaishnava sadhu comes along and says, come, that you have choice. We got here by sadhu ninda. How do you get back? Very simple. Right? You order the taxi of the holy name. Make sure it's driven by a Vaishnava sadhu from Nitai cabs and fueled by Lord Nityananda's mercy. And you pay your 1 paisa of faith as the fare. Jump in Jiva, we're on the way, step in the gas. Is that right?
Similar question, Maharaj can maybe answer. Is it true that when devotees commit offences and sin, their gurus suffer?
No.